I gotta say, this intro song is so much worse than the old one. The old one's way better. The old one slaps.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the greatest comic book show ever in BIZARRO world.
Thank you all. Yes, you all can calm down in the chat. We are here. It's fine.
The only time we've had Wednesday and actually invited Andy to be here.
True. Slam. Okay, he's not Trent, okay?
He is not. But I am Bear Island because I'm not wearing pants.
Yeah, I'll continually change my name throughout the night.
Makes me think of Lonely Island.
That's hilarious. So we are doing something totally different and wacky tonight. Alec has the night off. He's never going to watch this, so we're going to make fun of him all night.
Mm-hmm.
Bear Island wanted a night off too, and there's no way he watches the rewind. Jason and I were doing a show before this talking about Criminal by Brubaker, and we thought, you know what? Let's just keep the party going. Let's roll over here, and we'll actually talk comic books.
What? We're going to talk to the chat as well? Insane.
I'm saying we're going to shout out everybody except the robot tonight because we got Ricky Markstad in the chat, number 69. What? We got Kachung. This is bizarre.
Yeah,
Mondo. Bizarro. And some guy named Andy's in the chat too. It looks like he had he's got the shaved head on the side there. Look at that move.
Yeah, doppelganger.
Crop top going there. Yeah, we are on Comic Core branding tonight, folks. We are going to be legitimately doing something special for you all, the way it should be done. Not this, this is the Comic Core Unlimited style Bizarro world. But thank you all for coming by. We're going to hopefully have some fun, talk about what's going on with comics, talk about what we're reading, talk about what we are excited to read coming up soon.
Yeah, dude.
So not Trent. Did you get any books today?
I did. I got probably 15.
Ooh, I thought it was a big week for me too. I almost got to double digits. I went with 9. So there, you got me beat. What about you, Jason? Did you get anything? Any digital reads? Anything?
This is what I got in the mail today. Was the new Mets album from Sub Pop. If you're unfamiliar with the label, Sub Pop. I mean, they're a pretty big alternative label. They're like same label as like Nirvana was on back in the day. But this band Mets is pretty much like Nirvana 2.0 in my opinion. They're better probably. I love Mets. This is their newest album. I think it's their 4th or 5th one. Usually their vinyls, they have the standard edition and the loser edition. The loser edition is the color version of it. And it's a limited one, and it sells out immediately. So I'm stoked to have this because usually they shoot up in price like $70 or $100 in a week. Yeah. So, and it came with some cool stickers, little Sub Pop sticker there. So that was one package. And then, of course, like I showed before earlier, I had 2 issues of Pulp, or 2 covers of Pulp, one for my father-in-law. I want him to read this. He's an old dude. He loves Westerns. And the main protagonist is an old guy, and he tries to rob some stuff. It's going to be cool, man. I think he's going to dig it. I think my
wants to see the forearms so that we can tell if he's actually not Trent.
Yeah. Can I also show you what else that I got? I'm gonna show you this. I think this is from not Chaos. I think Unknown Comics is this cover of Wraith Web.
That's the Venom. What are those called now? The Web of Venom, right?
Web of Venom. Yeah. So there's this one, and then the Secret Kirkham variant as well. And
yeah, I thought that was a good read. I enjoyed that, but I've enjoyed Web of Venom as a read in general. I've read almost all of them, I think.
Yeah, I've definitely read them all, and I like the feel of those. I really like the character Wraith. It's kind of like Clint Eastwood, Good and the Bad, the Ugly, but like a sci-fi space western. I would say.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it.
I haven't read like the old, his first appearance, the Annihilation Conquest.
Me neither. Yeah,
I read those the other day, last week. And they're really good. They're about the same thing. So I love the character Wraith. He might be dead now. He kind of evaporated. So I don't know if he's going to come back later, but I hope he does. I think he's a really cool character. Also got this one cover. I think it's Detective One. Or what is it? 1027.
Is it or Batman?
Detective 1027. So like the I guess 100th appearance of Batman. But this is a great cover.
Yeah.
And then of course that huge ass Stray Bullets Uber Alice edition.
I was gonna say Gore Vidal is asking how far did you get in that beast? I think you said just a few pages.
A few pages, man. Yeah, because right now I'm trying to work on Long Halloween, because we're gonna talk about it here in the Comic Core on a Monday night for Modern Men, the last week of October, I believe. Andy, you know the date of that.
The 26th, I think.
I was gonna say it's the 26th, I think. Yeah.
Also, one last one. I got this recently too. I didn't get to show this to anybody. Put these down because that's so heavy. This is from R to Zap, the Harvey Kurtzman's Virtual History of Comics. This is really hard to find. Recently, Harvey Kurtzman's birthday. The Mad magazine, Mad.
I saw that
man himself. This on eBay, I think it's going for like $200 or something crazy. Whoa. Man. Yeah, I got it for like $30. So I'm pretty stoked because it's kind of gives like his like perspective on comics history and things of notoriety and certain artists and stuff. It's a great source and great wealth of information, and I'm really stoked to go through that. So
that's awesome. Well, I'm going to jump back into the chat because this is the BIZARRO show, and we are definitely saying hello to you all, including the chat master himself, C19, saying Pulp is awesome. Thank you for that. Aggressively Relaxing says, this is such a great comic show. I know, right? He's saying almost double digits, and you only got two. So you only got 2 comics? I know what you're talking about. I got 9, so I'm almost at double digits. This guy, he pulled the double digits. I have cut my pull list down, but 9 books is a ton for me these days.
To be fair, I only got into the double digits because of the Walking Dead Deluxe.
That will do it to you. For me, it's Die. When Die comes out, I'm getting both covers. That doubles my pull from that one alone. Animalia Comics, hello to you. And Kachung says, ooh, a book of onomatopoeias? He is in. He is in. So, yeah, I did get Die. And I will say one of the covers of the week for me is definitely this Die. Let me see if I do that. Yeah, this cover is freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, it's dope.
And you can't even tell all the detail work in the background is spot on, just so beautiful. And the color work, I love the light sort of peach and the blue and then the fire. It's just, this cover is freaking fire. And I'm still getting both covers until this current story arc ends, and then I might go back to one cover just because I don't know if I can keep doing that forever. But that was to me the cover of the week.
Each time I pick up an issue of Die, I like usually reread the whole entire thing because it's been so long. I think I've reread the series like 3 or 4 times now, from like issue 1 to like the current issue whenever I picked it up again. Right. It's worth it every time. It's great. It's such a good read. I love that comic.
TJ's already saying it's better than our usual show. Yeah, let's do that. Let's switch the branding up. How about that? Let's get crazy in here. Yeah. Hey, TJ, cheers to you, brother. Hope you're having a little something. What about you? So, Andy, you got all these books. What was your cover of the week? What was the one that you were like, ooh, look at this cover?
Yeah,
we're all in another room, right? I'm going to make you run around.
I didn't even really focus on covers a whole lot. I dove right into Year Zero, number 5, which was delayed by a week from my LCS to finish that out. We Only Find Them When They're Dead was probably my favorite read of the week. That was the first thing I grabbed as soon as I got home and read that. We talk about cutting back pull lists, and I had my hands on it, and I put it back.
Issue 2.
Yeah, I just picked up cover A.
But you said it was your read of the week.
Yeah, cover A. Cover A was just
the titles.
Yeah, just the title. I think that's cover B.
This is cover B, yeah. So you're saying this issue 2 was your read of the week?
Yeah.
Nice.
I really enjoy it. I like the pacing on that. There are a couple of little flashbacks in there to add some meat to the story.
Yeah, I will say I appreciated that a ton because I felt like issue 1 was very flat and I didn't get to know these characters and I didn't really, the universe looked cool, but I didn't really know why I cared about one or the other.
Yeah.
You know?
As far as covers, that Walking Dead cover with the zombie girl laying on the ground, the bicycle one.
Okay.
Probably one of the most probably one of the heaviest hitting moments out of the first issue of Walking Dead, and they made a massive cover out of it, and it turned out really cool. That one was awesome. I grabbed 5 out of the 6 covers, I think. I'm not a sketch fan variant, so I didn't do the sketchbook, and I added the cover A to that to my pull list.
Hello, Drew Banchu Bebe. Well, I haven't even started drooling over Hans because that cover I was showing you, this cover is not a Hans. This is the variant. She didn't do this cover. She did the other cover. But she did do my second favorite cover of the week, which was this amazing Storm variant for Marauders. That is a Hans and a half cover right there. You got my girl. She's got the lightning sword and the white eyes. And then, just too cool.
Did you grab Wolverine this week then, John?
I am grabbing the entire Ten of Swords. I'm reading all of it. So, yeah.
So that was the only part out of X of Swords that I didn't have on my pull list. And I got there and the guy's like, it's sold out already. And I'm like,
oh, no. Because I will say.
Already then.
Well, I will say that Wolverine, which is part 3, and X-Force, which is part 4, are 2 parts of the same story.
Okay.
It starts here and it ends here, this little arc. And then the Marauders is a standalone Storm story. They're really just showing you how these heroes are getting their weapons. Mm-hmm. Who gets picked and what weapons and how and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And it's like, I guess when they go into battle, it's like they can't be resurrected either. And it's going to have like a change of consequences. Like you can pretty much like retcon characters, you know.
Absolutely. And I totally agree, Drew, that it is absolutely great. So the X Factor issue from a week ago set up how resurrection works in Otherworld. A character dies. In Ten of Swords issue 1, Apocalypse and a couple other heroes get like beat up pretty bad. And one of them dies in Otherworld, and the rest are brought back to try to be healed. And the one who dies in Otherworld, when they resurrect him, he is an amalgam. He's an amalgam of all the other possible dimensional versions of that self. The idea is Otherworld is the hub at the center of the wheel, and it's a connection to all the other dimensions. So the version of him in one world where he's a villain, or one where he's a hero, or one where he's old, and one where he's young, and all these different things, the version they resurrect is a mix of all of those things, meaning the person they bring back, they can bring you back, but it's not going to be you.
Right. It's funny because you really need to read like Excalibur to kind of understand that stuff, where Otherworld takes place. Otherworld is like mainly like a Captain Britain kind of thing, or they have like, I guess the Hall of Captain Britons or whatever, where it's like the entrance to the multiverse pretty much for Marvel. And you have alternate versions of Captain Marvel is like where they met. So it's kind of like a Captain or I'm sorry, not Captain Marvel.
Captain Britain.
Captain Britain. It's like a Captain Britain core, pretty much.
Absolutely.
So one in that story, you have alternate versions of the Excalibur team, which is pretty cool as Captain Britain. Yeah. And they've yet to come into play, not that much, but I'm sure they'll pop up later on. But that's a pretty important part to know that there's a multiverse out there.
And I like the idea that they're putting the stake. Everybody who's like, oh, the X-Men verse doesn't matter anymore because characters die and they just come right back.
Right,
they can be resurrected. They pulled that right off the table for this saga.
Destroyed all the eggs.
Those 10 heroes that are going into battle, if they die, we're going to get a completely new version of that character when they come out, which for Hickman is a fun way to play with the universe, right? Yeah, he can pick somebody that he's like, you know what? I don't like the way we've done Psylocke over the years. It's time to fix that character, have her die. And when we res her, we can blend her up and get all the best stuff we want, throw out the backstory we don't like anymore and fix that character. And he can do that with any of those 10.
And it can be just for however long he wants to. I'm sure he can fix it later on and turn them back to how they were. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like anything is possible. It's going to be so cool to see what he makes up or what the
So we've got right now Magic, Storm, and Wolverine all trying to get their swords and then standing there to take their place as one of the 10 that are going to be facing down these villains from the other side. And I'm loving it. I really am enjoying these issues. I think it's a really cool story. I think Hickman is masterminding it more than he was Dawn of X. I think with Dawn of X, he gave a lot of rope to those teams that were running the different titles. And so you had some that were not so good and some that were great. This time it seems like he's tightened the noose a little bit on these guys, pulled the reins back, and really kind of is overseeing it a little more tightly, I think. Somebody said, Kachung says, please fix Cyclops. And I think honestly, I think he's got free reign to really go a lot of fun ways, reinventing X characters that he doesn't like or that he feels are not working well. And yeah, they're introducing with each story, they're kind of introducing you to who they're going to face. So Wolverine is facing a character named Solemn, and they introduce this guy and how powerful he is and how Wolverine and this guy are eventually going to be to the death. Somebody's going down. And Wolverine's claws don't even cut the guy. He's basically his skin is adamantium. This guy's like, you're not going to cut me. But then they both get cool swords, and it's more about how these swords, it's I think it's in Kill Bill. Like if you meet God, you could cut him with this sword. Right. That's basically the comment in Kill Bill. That's basically the swords that these guys are getting.
So Wolverine doesn't have his hot claws anymore to cut through that.
Well, yeah, I mean, he tries to cut the guy, but it doesn't do it.
No more hot claws. Yeah, I have a feeling. I'm sure like Wolverine's probably going to die and come back as something cooler or better for like a limited amount of time.
I mean, imagine it. They can blend Old Man Logan. They can blend our Logan. They can bring in Patch and all the iterations we've seen of Logan over the generations. Yeah. They can blend it and come out with one guy.
Yeah, that's dope. Good call.
So I don't know that they'll do it for I would be surprised if they did it for some of the big guys, but I would not be shocked if they did it for some of the ones that have a really confusing iteration. It'd be a perfect chance to just kind of like, let's clean this up a little bit.
Yeah. And this is going for 22 parts?
22 parts. So they are through part 6 right now. Next week, 3 more drops. So they'll be through part 9, right? So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So far 5 was this week. And then next week is 6, 7, 8.
That's right, Kuchung. This is the portal where Trent walks out.
And you had something to say.
I guess that's what I was really confused about. Is I didn't realize X of Swords was going to be bits and pieces from every storyline, and I didn't have everything on my pull list.
And me neither,
After House and Powers, I was basically just reading like Marauders, X Factor, Hellions, which came from the other one.
X-Men, probably.
Yeah. And like Wolverine was like the one I'm like, I'll check it out later. And then
I had all of them off my pull list, but then I just basically straight up told my LCS, just pull me one of every X of Swords book, and I might switch covers, but yeah.
I should have said that because I
can look and see if I get they had extra X-Men when I was there the other day, so I can ask if you want.
Oh, I mean, I can find another copy. It's just one of those things where I could have got it for $2.90 after my discount or something like that.
Or whatever.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, wish I just would have got it on the day when I ordered it or on New Comic Book Day, but.
So that's the name of the sword maker who Wolverine and Solemn are hunting down. And he is, through circumstance, sort of stuck between worlds, crafting magical, superior swords. And so, Mursaman. That's a big part of it. And definitely, it feels like a very Kill Bill kind of thing. Hello, K. Titus. Perfect time for you to come by.
Yeah.
I would argue that I did not love the first issue of Wolverine. I did not love the split narrative and how disjointed it was. But this issue of Wolverine is good. I do like it. But it's, again, I feel like Hickman is tightening the reins a little bit and you're getting a more cohesive story.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to tell people, like, I know that it's hard, 22 issues, but there's only 3 issues in addition to the normal run of X-Men at this point. So people that are already reading all of X-Men really are only buying 3 additional issues. It's people like not Trent and I who are basically having to decide, oh, crud, I don't read Hellions. I got to grab that. I don't read New Mutants. Next week it's New Mutants. I don't know that I read New Mutants. I got to grab that. It's like, okay, how many, like next week, all 3 books I didn't have on my pull list. It's Cable, New Mutants, and Hellions. I had none of those on my pull list.
Oh God, I dropped Cable too.
So those 3 I have to add to my pull list just so that I can keep up with the story. But what I think they've done is like, so for me, X Factor was hugely important. It basically felt like 10 of Swords issue 2. Like it set up the universe, explained what's going on. The first X-Men pulls out their sword and joins the fight. Like, you basically, it felt like a continuation of creation. And then now Wolverine and X-Force are the same story. It's like a 2-part story. And the Storm one stands alone, but it's the same kind of idea. She has to go to Wakanda and face down her ex-husband to take an artifact that she wants to use as her weapon. Which is, all that, it's great Wakandan, you get T'Challa and Shuri, and yeah, it's kind of a cool Storm revisiting Wakanda.
I guess that's where I'm kind of lost too. Was like number 1 was called Creation, right?
Yep.
X of Swords Creation wasn't tied to any of the titles that were currently being developed, right?
It's its own. There's a 3-issue, so it's Creation, Stasis, and Destruction, I think.
Okay, the 3 issues.
The 3 issues, and they're scattered in between the 22. Obviously, there's a bookend on either end, and then there's one in the center.
And this is kind of my complaint, and Gore Vidal and I talked about this a little bit, and we dipped into this on other shows and other episodes. Is the Carson, if you're still here and watching and listening, the numbering stuff, because then I'm looking and I see X of Swords part this of this, and then in black, much smaller underneath it, Marauders number 12 or Marauders number. So it's like at first glance, walking through the shop, it's X of Swords. This I'm like, okay, do I grab it or do I not grab it? Had I paid better attention, I just would have grabbed everything, because now you've got what 10% of the cover is what they're actually devoting for somebody to understand what issue they're actually buying.
I love the numbering system. For me, I see the blue label X of Swords, I'm buying it. That's just like it. And I love knowing what order to read them in. Right? Yeah. I don't have to worry about reading one and being like, oh shoot, that one went before this one. It's like right there on the cover, part 3 of 22. Boom.
Mm-hmm. Drew, learn to read numbers.
Ouch.
Yeah, dude. I've read all of Marauders, all of Excalibur, most of X-Men, and beginning of like New Mutants. But I'm gonna start how I did with Marauders and Excalibur, is start from issue 1, read them all. And I know they're not important, but I want to read every single X-Men title, everything. I think this next weekend adventure is gonna be read the short ones. I'm probably gonna read like Wolverine, Cable, the one with Hellions. Yes, thank you. I even though I know the ending, I got spoiled for me. But either way,
I think I'm with you. I would love to read them all. But I have not had the finance to pull that off. Mm-hmm. And what I've done since COVID hit and now is I've culled my list way down. I mean, last week I had 3 books, and I did that knowing this event was coming so that I could at least enjoy the event as a whole. And get, there's a few weeks where you have 3 books. This week and next week, there's 3 Ten of Swords books. So it's a lot of reading to snag.
I agree. And, this is one of the things where it's like, you can totally wait for the trade of X of Swords or Ten of Swords. It's like, I recommend those people that don't want to buy all these issues, like, just wait it out till they put out in a trade or a hardcover. It'll come sooner than later. It'll be. It's fun to keep up with the drama and action as people like talk about it. That's fun, but at the same time, it's like totally wait it out. Or wait.
I think Gore Vidal is saying the same thing. Like, it's hard to keep up in the spending, and I enjoyed. Was it a Civil War with all the tie-ins read on Marvel Unlimited?
Yeah, me too.
They loaded it on Marvel Unlimited so that you could read it from start to finish with the tie-ins where they fit, and you just you click next issue, you get the next issue in the saga.
The way I saw it on Unlimited was it had had like the run, and then it had the tie-ins on the bottom as a different playlist. So you had to keep track of the dates, and I think some of them got mixed up, but I tried to make sure it was the right one and in order.
They have an event tab on Marvel Unlimited, and I went in and I found Civil War and I clicked it, and it has everything sorted where it fits. And I just was like, next issue. It was I enjoyed it a ton. Now, that means you got to wait 6 months from the finale to be able to read it all
on Marvel Unlimited,
which you could do now. You could do right now with Dawn of X. You could basically start Dawn of X and catch up to where we are.
Another option is like you can wait like a month or two when new comic books go on sale anyways at your LCS. They always have sales like they're like half off. I recommend that if you don't want to wait like for a while.
For sure.
I don't know. After this, I'm dropping everything X-Men and taking a breather for a while. Because I've purchased pretty much everything through House and Powers into this, and I'm only missing 1 or 2 issues out of this so far. So it's like I bought everything. It's like I could use a little bit of a break from Marvel, a little bit.
I don't know. I feel like I'm more jazzed and more juiced on this than I think I was at the end of House and Powers. Like
Really?
I feel like I'm more invested. I'm more interested in the subplots. I'm curious to see what this looks like when they spin out of this storyline with Ten of Swords. So for me, I'm going to definitely be a little bit more invested probably when we roll out of this, but I don't know how far I'm going to go with it.
No, to be fair, I'm at least 2 weeks behind on all my X-Men stuff because I got caught up on Venom and Thor. So it was like it's like tit for tat, back and forth a little bit.
Yeah. Totally. There it is, right there.
Hunter, yeah.
Well,
they're not going to cross
Thor
over.
And Venom and X of Swords, yeah.
No, I doubt they'll cross over.
They're not going to cross over, and I don't think the mutant universe is going to cross over much with the King in Black either. When that storyline happens with all the Venom and Avengers stuff, I feel like sometimes Marvel does this where they sort of segregate the X universe and everybody and the Avengers universe or what have you.
Right.
So I think the King in Black, as great as that will be like Hickman free.
Yeah, a lot of people always crap on DC for its continuity, but Marvel's the same way. It's just nothing's really connected, but it is connected. You know what I mean? Right. It's just DC's more specific with their connectivity than Marvel, which just gets them in the crapper. Totally. Yeah, I don't think you're going to see any Thor, Venom, X-Men crossovers anytime soon. I think this whole entire X of Swords thing, though, is like just a stepping stone for what Hickman has planned. This is just the beginning. I think it's funny because like Professor Xavier is, and this is like Apocalypse. This is your fault and your thing. Like this isn't even the event yet. This is not the event, and I'm stuck doing the events. He's like I'm just here. So I'm stoked for what's to come. X-Men's been solid for me. It's been one of my favorite reads. And same thing with Venom and Thor. But they're different feel. Like Venom and Thor is like fun for me, but like X-Men, it's more like serious. I'm more like I read it in a serious, more state of minds than a jovial Venom and Thor read. You know?
Venom and Thor for me, I completely got caught on the FOMO train and the hype train. And
follow Seawood 19. Everybody goes.
I wanted to see. I didn't want to miss out on what was going on with Venom and Thor, and wanted to be able to read all of that. And to be honest with you, that just played a very big distraction from the X-Men stuff that I really should have been reading in the first place. Reading in the first place.
Right. So anything else that you got this week, Andy? I got one more indie and I got 2 DC books.
Ooh. I got all of the Walking Dead deluxes minus the sketch cover Year Zero, which was a little bit late. I did grab Batman 100. I did grab Justice League 54. No, that was about it. I was rewatching my own.
I was assuming you would have gotten Deceased.
No, I didn't get on Deceased. I hadn't.
I'm hate reading this, so I'm
hate reading, huh?
Well, I ragged on the first story so much that I was like, you know what? I forced myself to go back and reread it and be like, okay, I can speak to the points that bug me. And then I was like, I'm going to do it from the beginning. And I've read all of Deceased, Dead Planet. I will say issue 3 was fantastic, and issue 4 seems to fall back into the old. They're superheroes. They make stupid mistakes. Let's have a bunch of that. That's kind of the thing that bugs me about Deceased in general is they take smart characters and make them do stupid things.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's the horror trope of the big-titted blonde running back into the house where the killer is.
Sure.
Like,
right.
That kind of is what happens in the DC universe in this storyline. Is I feel like they're doing stuff. You're like, come on, man. Like that's just stupid. Like, how are you not prepared for that? Knowing that there are like zombie Wonder Women running around on this planet. How are you not ready for her?
I got some catching up to do with Deceased. I was keeping up for a while, and then it's just so much. There's so much to read.
So much going on here. Let's see. Gore says, I'm presently rereading the Kyle and Yost X-Force from the 2008. I think I remember you saying that, Gore. TJ says, Jason, I think I'm going to work to make you the Slabamander in the coming years. Okay.
It's hilarious.
He's the vinyl dragon. That's for sure.
I had changed my name as a homage to his. If you saw JC the Single Issue Salamander.
Well, I'm excited. We got Drew Manchu joining us here. This is really awesome.
Yeah,
Drew, for taking the time. I appreciate that. I got this indie. Anybody grab American Ronin?
No,
almost bought it. In fact, I might go back and grab it tomorrow.
I like AWA a lot, man.
AWA Upshot.
Yeah, AWA is cool, man.
It's my first time buying one of their books. This is by Peter Milligan. So I thought it was interesting enough. I mean, it's a Hitman story, so you get all your good Hitman tropes in there. I think the art style is really cool. I dig the art a bunch. So I'm not sure if I'm grabbing a second issue, but I was excited to grab a number one. I like getting some Image number ones.
Dude,
I really like what they're doing.
Yeah, me too. Pick up Resistance issue 1. That was like their first issue, but it's kind of introduction to like their universe. I think they're supposed to try to make it all connected, but it seems like now they're doing kind of separate stories, which is kind of strange. So I'm not sure if it's going to be if they still keep the same idea.
Gotcha.
But the Resistance was like the original idea, and the reason I recommend that is because not only is it a good story, it's kind of might be kind of a bummer now with modern circumstances and the time we live in now. At the time, it was really cool, but now it's depressing. But there's a lot of similarities. But the art is fantastic. It's the same artist from Marvel that he did like Infinity Wars. And I'm trying to remember what else he did. Thanos book. I forget the artist's name. It escapes me, but fantastic stuff. But there's characters in there that look like real actors. Like I think there's like Ed Harris is in there.
That's fun.
And some other people, but you'll know them when you see them. It's great. It's
nice.
Like fun. Resistance issue 1.
True. Gimmick infringement. Gimmick infringement.
If you would have ended there, oh my god. Oh man.
Some dude who doesn't know numbers is upstairs pretending to be me.
Randy.
I
We've had this discussion though. I am terrible with numbers. I am terrible with big events.
I will. Comic Man Randy does not abide.
I'm assuming Randy means horny, right?
Always.
Randy, baby.
Comic Man Randy.
Always.
I will say so the one other book I got that nobody's mentioning, I feel like nobody talks about Far Sector, but this book's freaking great. So
I read the first 4, 5, 6 issues.
I love this book.
So I've heard good things, and I wanted to ask you, John, is that like Green Lantern with a little more sci-fi? I mean,
it's definitely with more sci-fi, and I don't know why they're calling it DC's Young Animal imprint. I don't know what that is because it's very saucy. Definitely some racy bits in there.
Young Animal is an imprint that got canceled.
Yeah, but the
Gerard Way imprint,
right?
With
Gerard Way,
Doom Patrol and Shade the Changing Girl, and what else is Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye, which is great. Go and read that.
Young Animal started, of course, Gerard Way started it, but also with gosh, I wish I remembered her name, but she helped create Vertigo as well. Not Karen Berger, but she worked under Karen Berger. But good friends Gerard Way. I forgot her name, but yeah, she handed the torch over to Gerard Way to start that, and they canceled Young Animal for a while, but they brought it back.
Did they?
So so I mean that's why we got Far Sector, because it was canceled before then.
Well, they also did that. What was the book that was in Gotham, but didn't have Batman? What was that?
Gotham Central?
No, it was a different. It was a female character.
Yeah, it was in the future too. Yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, but it wasn't like Batman Beyond Future. It was still current Batman,
right?
In Gotham at the point in time.
It was Shade the Changing Woman.
Gosh,
it was something. I forgot.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
One called Collapser that I really liked on the Young Animal label.
That's Gerard Way's brother, Frank. I think Frankie Way.
Gerard Frank.
It's funny because like my buddy Chris too from Anti-Flag, he's here in Pittsburgh. He's really good friends with
your buddy's an Anti-Flag.
Yeah, dude.
It's fucked up. I've listened to that band since I was a kid.
Dude, that's great. It's funny because I'm in one of their music videos, dude. I threw a flat screen TV into a fire. I'm also did backup vocals on one of their albums. And I used to be on YouTube commercials too with that scene where I threw a TV into a fire.
Did you flash them afterwards? I would have flashed him. I'm just saying.
Yeah, dude. I'm on Wikipedia now because of that band.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
We have a famous.
We can put you on Wikipedia for a number of different reasons.
I guess so. Yeah. But
who is that? Like, you just type into Wikipedia, who is that guy who needed to be carried around like a dead body in Chicago that one time?
Right. The reason I bring that up is because he's friends with the Way brothers. I always want to like have like a show with like him and the Way brothers. And,
funny story. Gerard Way is actually Joe Rogan's cousin.
Really?
Yeah, he learned that on the Kevin Smith told him that
funny.
on his podcast. So,
that's really funny.
So back to Drew's question. This Drew's question. What I like about this Green Lantern is it's like for me, it fills in the question, or it answers the question of what Green Lantern kind of should have been, which is outer space police. Like that's what it is. She's a police officer in a district and dealing with crime in an area where they haven't had a murder in eons, and now there is a murder, and she's going to have to kind of try to solve it. There's a lot of people who are emotionless because of drugs they've been taking, and now some of them are rebelling and going off the drugs. And it's a question of like, who would commit a murder in this environment and why? And I think it's really just kind of a good police procedural sci-fi. They go into like social media and digital avatars and all that kind of stuff. It's really a fun sci-fi read that is less of let me fly around and punch a giant monster with my ring. And
I like the different species too, like the classes that they have. Like some aliens like eat people. Like this person they kill the guy because they eat him. There's a lot of like questions like that. Different social structures.
And her ring is very different too, because she does not have the ring where you charge it in the lantern. Hers charges when she's not using it. Mm-hmm. So if she uses it too much, it wears down to the point that she can't. Then she's powerless for a while, and she's got to fight with her wits and without it for a while.
Yeah, for me, I had like a hate-love relationship with the earliest issues because it's usually hard for me to like something new, but it was so different that
you're not alone. Ricky was with you.
Yeah, well, it wasn't boring for me. That was not the case. But it was that the rules were different. You have a set rules to obey by Green Lanterns, and this broke them all. The ring worked a different way.
Yep.
You don't know what sector they're in when you should know, because that's how the rings work. The rings are assigned. Yeah. That's how the rings work. They're like, oh, Green Lantern here, you're assigned to sector. That's the first step of being a Green Lantern. It's like, I don't know what sector this is. So you're breaking all these rules. You're making crap up as you go along. You just go with the flow. Great art. Same artist as Naomi. Yeah.
Would you, John? Would you compare it to like pre-John's? Like, let's add all this mythology to Green Lantern, where like I remember Green Lantern back in the '80s was very much a police procedural. Like he was investigating crimes and kind of saving different people in different situations on different worlds.
I think what I like is that they actually are not building a Green Lantern mythology.
Right.
They spend, I think it's almost like 4 issues before they even give you any of her backstory.
Yeah.
They have not shown any of how she got her ring or who gave it to her and any of that. She's the only Lantern we see at all.
Right. I think it's like since John's first run on Green Lantern, it's like every time you put on you open a Green Lantern book, it's Green Lantern talking to an orange lantern or a blue lantern or a red lantern. And I feel like none of that's in there. No. I only read the first issue and it didn't really speak to me. So I didn't pick it up moving forward, but I did notice that was kind of divorced from the rest of the Green Lantern universe.
I almost picked it up at issue 2, and I definitely need more sci-fi in my life. And I don't know what the hell happened. Something happened and I got distracted and forgot to do it. So I probably should get on that.
Yeah, the reason I liked it is more of a
sounds like something story. I do.
Yeah, it's for me. I liked it because it's more of a detective story. You're trying to figure out who killed this person and why, and then understanding different it's like watching a brand new sci-fi TV show. You're trying to understand all the rules, the classes, and the systems, and how things work.
The focus for this book for me it's named Far Sector for a reason. The focus is this universe and these alien entities and their technology and how the technology operates and how a murderer could hide their tracks within that technology. So I felt like they made Joe, who is Sojourner, who is the main character, they've made her secondary to a lot of that, and she's just thrown into it. And I think that's what made me appreciate. I cared more about her because of that. It's the opposite of my problem with We Only Find Them When They're Dead is that I feel like I still, after 2 issues, don't know these characters. I don't know who they are. I don't know anything about them, and I don't care. Versus Joe, I cared about right away because she was in a tough situation, and I felt her emotional situation very real. Versus, I still have not fully figured out. I don't even know that I know the name of a single character on
I feel
We Only
that
Find Them When They're Dead.
I feel that We Only Find Them When They're Dead did a really good job, in my opinion, on the first issue, not introducing you to the characters, but in showing you what their archetypes were and basically showing you how they interact with each other in a way that made you want to know more about each individual character moving forward. I haven't read issue 2 yet, haven't gotten to it. So I'll take your word for the fact that it's not really developed yet. But I think that it gave me enough of their interaction for me to see how they reacted with each other. And again, I still don't know their names, and I probably won't remember them when I start reading issue 2. But at the same time, I really enjoyed the dynamic between them, and the conversations between them, in the very Firefly type way. Whereas like you didn't know who those characters were at all or what their stories were in the first couple episodes of Firefly, but you did know their roles, and you did know their temperament and the way that they interacted with each other. I'd be sad to say that they don't develop within the next arc or so, but I think that the way that Ewing sets that up with saying part 1, book 1 is like he's got a long-term kind of deal that he's going to work on there, and it gives him time to later on, when he starts laying out the narrative, then go into the characters.
Yeah.
I would love to hear what Andy has to say as far as, because I know he was a big fan of the second issue, and I having read the first 2 issues, I felt like it was more of the same. I got a little bit of flashback, a little bit of connective tissue, but I still feel like the universe is number 1 and character is like number 12.
I'm with you guys 100%. I'm still trying to figure out who's who. At least I can gather, like Drew said, I get what the people are, what their roles are in that aspect. And I think we're going to look back at this. And we're going to realize they did a really good job getting us to buckle the hell in and get ready for this ride. Cause I feel like they're taking us on a trip. And I hope Drew's right that within this first arc, they're really going to get back at us with the characters and really kind of let those blossom and develop a little more without it necessarily being filler or anything. Cause I'm really digging this book. I'm really digging the sci-fi aspect. I really hope they deliver on this. And
I look to a series like Saga that is very much character driven, even though it's this big overarching giant adventure. And they didn't really delve into a lot of who these characters were until the second volume. So I look at something like that, and they did a lot of Marco and Alana stuff up front, but as far as everybody else, they didn't really get a chance to stretch their legs on it until it develops a little bit more. I'm just hoping that we're in for that kind of run.
And I will say my biggest compliment of We Only Find Them When They're Dead is the fact that I'm 2 issues in, I'm super confused, and I'm still thinking about buying issue 3.
Right. It's like, I mean, that's what I said about issue 1 is that like, it didn't give you enough, but it did its job in making you want to pick up issue number 2. I didn't know a lot of people who I spoke to who weren't psyched for issue number 2. I think that it did its job in making you want to hop on and strap in for that ride.
Yeah. Let's say hello. There's still some people chatting about Green Lantern in the chat. Kachung says his best part of Green Lantern is when they wear 2 different rings. He's clearly a Jeff Johns fan, talking about all those colors, the rainbow of rings in the Jeff Johns universe. Gore Vidal says he enjoyed Green Lantern in the early 80s, the strange universe he inhabited, same as the Legion of Superheroes. Dave Gibbons drew some great issues. I mean, for me, I think I've never been a huge Superman fan. I like me some Batman, but I like the Rogues Gallery, and I'm for whatever reason I always wanted to be Robin, so I love the Robins. Like I could appreciate the whole Dick Grayson Nightwing stuff, but there's something cool about Green Lanterns and the idea of policing the universe and all the doors that opens, the sort of Star Trekian doors that opens for story.
So the Green Lantern Star Trek crossover was the perfect marriage. I really enjoyed that.
And so for me, Far Sector feels like that, where you're really exploring a universe and letting one lantern lead the way. And it feels like the kind of thing where you could end this story arc and have Far Sector Volume 2, Season 2, pick a different lantern in a different sector and really get the same quality of idea.
That's actually not a bad idea.
And then later on, you want to bring them into other storylines, whatever, fine. But like each Far Sector could really be its own thing.
Treat it more like a True Detective than a Law and Order.
Yeah.
Look, see, there it is. There's my man. Comic Man Randy knows what's up. And obviously, you don't know Saga, but you should really try it out. I think you'd appreciate it.
One of these days, I'll read it. Bearded Comic Bro keeps giving
Sega. It's just like Nintendo.
Oh yeah, the Genesis was the jam.
Sega. Jeez, get out of my head.
Sega. So now, Drew, down below, did you read anything we haven't talked about this week?
I missed the first couple minutes of the show. Did you guys talk about Batman 100?
We did not.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Batman 100 for a second.
Don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it for you. It's Batman versus the Joker. We all know how it ends. That's my one real criticism of it, is that like it's very tropey. That's kind of what it is. I had a conversation with good old Chris Barrett in the Comic Core Discord. Join the Comic Core Discord. You can find that link on one of the videos. Probably not this one. But Andy can add it in later. There are a lot of different conversations going on over there. One of them was like I thought that it was a perfect landing. They stuck the landing on the Joker war story. I thought that it was very well done. I thought the art was great throughout. The Jorge Jimenez art was great. Yeah. I think that this oversized issue has a lot of content in it, and finally gives me something out of Punchline that everybody's been hyped about this character that's done shit nothing.
So you're saying that I'm not following it closely enough. This is the end of the Joker War. It's all
that's
done?
it. Yeah, this is the last issue of Joker War.
That tie-in though, right? Is Black Label one? Doesn't it have some mini stories? It's like a couple.
Black Label's not continuity, so it wouldn't have anything to do with it.
What's a Joker War?
The anthology that just came out last week.
Yeah,
it's just different stories about the fights going on in Gotham during the end of the battle.
But that's on Black Label, right?
No,
I'm pretty sure it is.
No, it's not.
No? Okay.
No. Clown Hunter's identity is revealed, and it's very, very anticlimactic. At the same time, it's like everything they do right, but it's just the most boring, average topic for a Batman story. It's like Joker takes over Gotham, and Batman's at the end of his rope, and like he needs everything that he has at his disposal to come back and beat the Joker. And it's like there are no questions here at all that you can't answer for yourself going into the story.
The other book.
That to be said, it's just it's the same damn thing that we always get, but it really works for what it is. I think that Jimenez's art does enough to bring it through. There's enough stuff with Batman dealing with Alfred's death for it to feel a little bit fresh, but at the end of the day, I picked up every one of these issues and enjoyed every single one, but can still say that this is, same old shit. Just because it's stir fried in a different flavor doesn't mean that it's not the same meal that you've been eating all week long.
Well, then let me present two questions, and we'll bip around the room here one time for these. My first question is pretty much a yes or no. Is it possible in this modern publishing age for Marvel and DC to drop a sort of centennial issue and not just be like a Mod Podge of crap?
That's what this is. This is not a Mod Podge of crap. This is
I feel like
a story. This is the end of the story.
Is that like Superman 1000, Action 1000, Batman 1000, Spider-Man 1,000,000, Wonder Woman 750? Doesn't matter. is it possible to drop one of these like hey, every like all these little chapter, Marvel 1000, whatever you want to, is it possible for a publisher to drop one of these and not have it just be mediocre crap?
Hit or miss because there's so much variety in it.
Is it possible to do that anymore? And then the second question is, when is the last time you saw a Centennial issue be something worth collecting?
Ooh.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll answer the
Let's go, Drew. Yeah.
As far as a Centennial issue, Batman 100 is an oversized Centennial issue. It is not a hodgepodge of different stories being told. It is the end of Joker War. Not only that, is the epilogue to Joker War, which is like extended to the fact that you get a bit about Clown Hunter, you get a bit about Punchline at the end, and then you get a bit about where things are going to go moving forward from the perspective of not Batman, but the Joker. So there is more to this, I would say, if you're following the story. If you're just picking this up for a 100 Centennial issue, you're not going to get what you want out of it. I would say Spider-Man did the exact same thing this week with 850, where it was a big chunk of story. It was a big chunk of story that wrapped up the story that they've been working on. But at the same time, like Detective 1027 came out a couple weeks ago. I bought all of them like an idiot because I liked most of the covers, but it's basically all the stories from Detective 1000 that didn't fucking fit. Like, that's really all it is. It's leftovers.
That makes sense.
It's leftovers. And I think that some of these are done better than others. I really enjoyed the Robin because there are more characters and each story seemed to have a little bit more room to breathe because they weren't all about the same character. But I think like the Joker was just a piece of crap. The Catwoman book was a piece of crap. It was just, there was very few redeeming qualities about that. And I think that the more of these that are released.
I read Detective 1000 and I don't care. Like, that was so for me. That's what I was thinking of.
I kind of dug Marvel 1000 because they did something different with it, where like each page was a story, and there were a few threads that continued throughout the whole thing. But like overall, I wouldn't recommend it to somebody who's not a super fan. And that's the way I would say about most of these. But if you're not a super fan, but you've been reading Batman, I would totally recommend Batman.
Well, let's hear Andy. Andy, is it possible, do you think, for a Marvel or a DC to publish a Centennial issue that's not just kind of like a boring, mediocre amalgam of crap?
Oh, it's absolutely possible. I mean, we saw witness to it with Batman 100. Now, I haven't read that whole run, but I know enough talking to other people that it is possible. They just have to plan ahead. And rolling right into your second question, I have not bothered to buy any Centennial issue because since the 90s with first collector's edition, this collector's edition, that collector's edition, any of those Centennial issues, I've never bothered to even get on the train. And I think the last one that I think I would consider being worth buying was ASM 300.
I was going to mention that would be one of the two that came to my mind as far as like a pivotal book that holds importance.
I think that when you look at like Action 1000, that has its collectability because it's the first comic book to hit 1,000 issues. It is the first comic book to hit 1,000 issues.
You're going to find that in dollar bins for the next 10 years. Guaranteed.
Sure, that's fine. But that doesn't mean that it's not a key. It's the first comic book to hit. I mean, there are a lot of books.
I said that it'll have importance. I don't know.
It has importance. That's importance. That's importance right there, in my opinion. When you look at all the keys, like on Key Collector, most of them are in dollar bins, and most of them are said to be in top condition, worth $3. Like, they're a key issue because it's a character's first appearance, or it's a costume change, or do those things really hold importance?
You don't think 300 is going to hold importance more than Action 1000?
I definitely think 300 will hold importance more than Action 1000, but I think that Action 1000 has its importance. It's the first comic book in the history of the medium to hit 1,000 issues.
Which is like having a record, but it's not something that I'm never going to play that record.
Dude, I have.
I don't know. I think it's worth flipping through them.
I have the Del Auto.
Well, yeah, let's get to Jason, because I want to hear your answer to the theory. Like, can they do it, and what is the last time it was done?
I loved Action 1000. I loved all the stories in it, like most of them. I love most of those issues. I just got Detective Comics 1027 today. I'm looking forward to reading all the little stories. I mean, usually you find at least one that's pretty solid. The action
that's like finding one good candy bar in your Halloween trick or treat bag at the end of the night.
Like
that's not really like impressive.
Yeah, I see that as an overall over a lot of stories, but
a shiny kernel of corn in your turd.
Sure, but it's like, you know, it might be a fucking diamond, and you're like, oh shit, now I'm at fucking 10,000 there, you know, or it goes a long way. Like, you never know the quality of one story. It can be 5 pages, it can be 1 page. It's a great story. You're like, you're never going to forget, or it touches you in some way, man. You don't know until you read it.
Sorry about that.
So Action 1000, like Del Auto cover I got from Bulletproof Comics, that one's worth a lot of money because you can't find that virgin copy anywhere. I got that one. The same thing with the Detective Comics 1000 Del Auto cover.
So those are ones that obviously you found entertainment value from. But what was the last Centennial issue that you felt like was important?
Well, I think 1000 hit a lot of like importance of Superman when a lot of people were doubting what Superman was, because that's when Bendis started. You know, it was around that time where he was fantastic. Everyone was starting to love him and understand him. And then you have this like new bar setting for Superman. I think that was an important issue on all levels. I love Action 1000. I think it was better than Detective 1000, even though I'm a bigger Batman fan. But I don't know, man. I really love these big issues, but I'm not sure. I guess besides that, what the last good one was, maybe I don't know. I didn't read them all.
Spider-Man 700 is a great issue.
Didn't read it. I don't know. Was it the Dan Slott one?
That's the Red Goblin, isn't it?
No, that was 800.
800.
700 was the last Peter Parker story before Superior.
Okay, so he basically dies, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, that one's worth a couple bucks. It's worth more than the cover price.
That's a fair comment. I was thinking of like, so certainly ASM 300 came to my mind, but for me, I mean, the one that is for me, the one that means more to me, because I'm not a huge Venom fan, but I like Venom, is X-Men 200 when you have the Trial of Magneto. And I felt like it was this huge issue where they took the comic book X-Men in a whole new direction. They redeem Magneto in some small way, and he becomes the leader of the X-Men. I mean, it had huge impact for years on that comic.
It's still a dollar bin issue.
It is a dollar bin issue. So value-wise, yeah. But like story-wise, what it did.
I also really enjoyed Uncanny 300, which was a nice big oversized issue that delves into, you know, Magneto's acolytes and all that stuff there. One of the first books that I ever picked up off the rack. Really nice shiny John Romita Jr. cover. But I would say investment wise that you're not going to get anything out of it. But I don't, you know, I definitely don't buy my comics for investment. I buy.
But I meant like for importance to the story.
Importance to the story.
The Trial of Magneto has had ramifications.
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And ASM 300, the arrival of Venom.
Say Uncanny 600 also had story implications moving forward. I mean, it was late.
I remember that one.
Well, it was late coming out after Secret Wars.
Okay.
You know, so it kind of didn't have the impact that it probably should have. But at the same time, there's a lot in there about, you know, the trial of Hank McCoy. So that there's some stuff in there about holding Beast accountable for his hubris.
I was gonna say, like, a lot of like these that Centennial issues, like whatever, like they have always someone trying to make long repercussions, but they don't necessarily last. You know, like for instance, the Bendis one, yes, when he started introducing, Rogolzar and stuff.
Well, that has the first appearance in New Generation, right? With Commandy finding Detective 27
like
Batman
forever. You know what I mean? Like same thing with the Detective 1000. It had like Slam Bradley in there, which I love. I thought that was amazing. But these don't have lasting repercussions. You know what I mean? It's someone who's trying to. They're trying to roll that dice, see if it hits, and most of the time it doesn't. But it's like not saying that they don't try.
For me, it feels like that.
Go ahead.
For me, it feels like the reason why I would answer no to the first question of can DC or Marvel do it anymore is it seems like they want to make a little fun greatest hits album when they do these now. They don't necessarily want to make it this huge issue like a House of X or Powers of X where they're going to shift the story and the paradigm. Instead, they want to just sell a bunch of covers.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you look at like Marvel Comics 1000, they had that overarching story about the mask and what was going on with that, and it kind of opened itself up to be something that's going to be dealt with in the future. And we haven't seen it yet, but I think it's going to probably tie into Al Ewing's cosmic stuff that he's doing.
They made 1001,
soon.
didn't they? Didn't they make
1001 was they came out and basically said that they're releasing 1001 because it was basically the, all the tracks that got cut from 1000.
That's exactly what I thought. Yeah.
But they that was in the solicit for it, that like we had more than we could fit into that book, and here's the rest of it. Whereas 1027 is obviously that, and they don't market it that way at all. They're like, here's some new stuff.
It's like 1000 kind of teased that character, and then 1001 like kind of what had him more in it. I thought
1001 is pretty much the bonus features, right? It's like when you buy the deluxe version of the album, and you're like, well, here's the things that you could have found on the internet if you looked hard enough. But
that's hilarious. So it made me think of it because I've been super reluctant. I mean, I like Wonder Woman. I looked at 750 and I was like, I'm out. I don't want to. I don't care.
Yeah. I picked up one issue of 750.
There'll be so many that I can go back in a couple of months and find it in the dollar bin.
Dude, I picked up 750 because Ryan Gomer, that guy, told me that there was going to be a new Wonder Woman status quo in it, and I was like, well, I guess I need to read it in order to be educated on it. And then I read it, and I was like, oh, this just undoes Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, right. I ordered on Unknown Comics. They're having a sale right now. It's like their 5-year anniversary, so it's like buy 3 get 3 free. So I got the Jay Anacleto Wonder Woman 750 cover, Virgin cover, which is beautiful. That's my favorite. His
work is great.
I'm super stoked to get that one in the mail. I forget what else. I ordered a bunch of stuff, but
I just picked up one of his covers from Unknown Comics. I think it was X-Men number 7. It's the Cyclops and Jean Grey with the homage to Days of Futures Past.
Yeah.
And it looks freaking great. And I was like, I have to buy this.
Yeah,
Speaking of Unknown Comics, we just did the retailer spotlight on Unknown Comics a couple of weeks ago on Thursday.
That's right.
I like those guys. They do some good stuff over there.
I probably order most of my exclusive covers from Unknown Comics, and then maybe Bulletproof.
So, I mean, this is usually when I would be the Seawood and shout out the chat, but we've been staying on top of the chat, and I thank you all for coming by. Daymare's mentioned ASM 100, and Emperor Joker came up as unlimited power, so there's some of that. But sorry, Jason, what do you got there?
I know we're at an hour already, and I'm sure we'll want to quit right now, but I do want to go over my hope to do Halloween reads. I know Seawood has his own special that he's doing.
If you guys are not subbed to that dude yet, go sub him up. He's close to 500. He gives out extra prizes as soon as he hits 500.
Yeah. Anybody want to put the link to Seawood's channel down there?
I'm gonna do it right now. I'll do it unless somebody beats me, but I'll probably get to it.
He's doing a Halloween kind of themed month. Of course, it's October, but he's doing like a scary issue every single day, which is amazing. And I wish I would have. I've had the idea. I'm just not I'm lazy. Sorry, I'm tired. I wouldn't say lazy. I'm saying I'm tired. But I want to do the same thing. I want to do it. I want to do it on my own time. Have some cool reads that I got. So this is it's midnight, witching hour. I really want to do read one of these like every night or every other night.
It's a pretty badass cover.
It's badass, dude. Look at the skeletons in spacesuits, man.
Dude, what was that? 70s, late 60s, DC?
It is.
So they made some great horror books. So I grew up reading my uncle's comic book collection when I was a young little lad, and he had nothing but the DC horror and DC war titles out of the 60s and 70s. That's really where I dipped my toes into comic books as a kid, even before Punisher a little bit. I didn't get to keep the books, and I got to hide in the basement and read those things, and they were great. Those were some awesome reads. And you didn't have to have every single issue out of the run. You could bounce here, bounce over there, and those are a really good time.
It's like when you marry her and when you divorce her, when she takes off her makeup, right? Am I right, fellas?
Am I right there, boys?
Yeah, right. You got Weird Mystery.
Ooh,
that one's pretty cool. It's like a
ship,
haunted Titanic. Ghost ship.
I love the ghost ship. Yeah, that's cool.
Right. It's like a spin-off one they did, like Secrets of Haunted House. This is another spin-off right here. House of Secrets.
Hello, entertainment nerd. Thanks for coming by. Gore Vidal says the milestone issues only matter historically as a number. The memorable milestones aren't based on the number of issues, but the stories that resonate. Yep, I agree.
It's kind of like a camp one. That's kind of cool.
Ooh, creepy, like a little Camp Crystal Lake.
Right? That's what I have. I felt too. Got the same feels. Here's a Bernie Wrightson cover. House of Secrets.
There you go.
Spooky. It's spooky season, boys. I'm stoked about spooky season. House of Mystery spinoff.
I'm such a counter programmer that I tend to like do the opposites for holiday season. So like I'm watching like romantic comedies and and like gangster movies right now.
Romantic comedies.
I'm not doing Halloween. I do
romantic
Halloween
comedies
stuff.
scare me.
When I get closer to Christmas, I'll do Halloween stuff.
This is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, the Ghost Bride, the Skeleton Bride.
Got 3 more. It's like a hitchhiker, dude.
Yeah,
it's usually like a hitchhiker, like being. It's usually the hitchhiker is usually the bad guy. It's funny. It's like the opposite. It's switched.
You know what's crazy is those things are hard to find at flea markets and other places. People are buying them up in droves right now.
Dark Mansion.
20, 30 cents.
Yeah. Well, while I'm here, guys, I want to show you guys some of the variants that I picked up this week. We got the. John already showed the Stephanie Hans. I got that hiding over there, but this is the Russell Dauterman B cover here.
Yeah,
I love Daughters. Dauterman's work is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Scott Young did a great, amazing Spider-Man 49/850.
Yeah, he made that Jason Aaron run what it was for me, the Thor run.
Oh, I love the way that he works with fire, like the way that he draws flames. It's fantastic. This is a Daniel Warren Johnson variant for Wolverine 6. I thought that was pretty dope.
That is cool.
So I picked that one up. And then, we got to get into those Alex Ross Timeless variants. The Thor was pretty cool. Also, did you guys talk about Thor? Because Thor number 8 was fantastic.
I'm not reading Thor, so no.
Oh, man, it was great. A really great conversations between Tony and Thor about some Thor history. I thought it was cool. This is the Black Widow number 2.
I love that Iceman one. I think the mutant covers on the Timeless run are my favorites.
This Wolverine is pretty cool. I dig it. But like for some reason, I really love this Beast.
I love the Beast. Yeah. The Angel one, the Storm one.
They've all been really good. I think the Storm was my favorite until this Beast cover came out, which I don't know why. It's so kind of plain. But the way that he conveys the emotional, his face is just killer. And this was a second print of Fantastic Four number 24, but it's an Art Adams cover, so I figured I'd pick that one up. Mm-hmm. It's pretty dope.
I think
got to pick up Art Adams Fantastic Four when it comes out.
I think my LCS got shorted or got misdelivered because half the stuff I'm seeing you guys show this week that wasn't anywhere on any of the shelves at my LCS at all.
Damn.
Those
Are you guys reading this?
Nope.
Adventure Man?
I read the first issue. All right. Did I? I meant to.
I haven't read issue 4 yet, but I'm really enjoying it.
I read the first issue and didn't really care enough to continue on because I just thought I didn't love the story enough.
John, did you read Daredevil?
I don't think you get enough of the story in issue 1, but it definitely.
Is there a new one? There wasn't one this week.
The last one I read was like when Iron Man was going to give him a new suit.
What's that? Which one?
Daredevil? Yeah, that's the last one I read.
Yeah.
When did that come out? Last week?
Last week, I think.
2 weeks ago.
I get Daredevil at a different shop, but I haven't picked my books up in like a month.
No, Daredevil's been the most consistent. It's the most consistent book at Marvel. There's just no book better.
Yeah, dude.
I love the stuff, but the problem
the whole X universe is way more consistent than Daredevil. In my opinion, it draws you through it a whole lot better, and I think the Thor right now has been better than Daredevil. I love. Don't get me wrong. I love Zdarsky's Daredevil. I just think that after the first arc. It started doing that like I don't want to be Daredevil. Now there's a bunch of random Daredevils running around. I love the way how he was doing like 2-issue arcs the way old school Marvel was. He's like in and out 2-issue arcs where you can kind of just get the story and it would build upon it. But at the same time, like it totally fell off for me after the first volume.
Yeah, then you missed out because honestly,
I read the entire
thing. The Battle of Hell's Kitchen, the 3-issue arc for that is probably the best part of the whole thing.
I enjoyed it. I don't think that I didn't think that it kind of held up to the promise that Zdarsky gave us on the first arc.
I disagree, but now I'll also say my issue with the Hickman universe is that because you have so many books and Hickman can't manage all of them.
Yeah.
The inconsistency has been more like you'll have the highs of Marauders and the lows of other books where you're like,
I thought that
is happening.
I completely thought that, and a lot of people have been asking me since I've been reading all of them. What do I need to read? And I've been telling people, skip Excalibur, and then X of Swords starts ramping up, and I'm like, yeah, you should read Excalibur.
Yeah, it's
because I thought that there's so many different things going on in each different book that I thought there's no way that all these things are intertwined, and it seems like they really are, even based on the way that creation went to the AIM soldiers and bringing back Sword and talking about the future and talking about outer space. And I think that everything's going to kind of come together in the end. It's
totally connected. I totally agree with that, but that doesn't solve the inconsistency of this writer is better than that writer.
Yeah, I'm not a big Teeny Howard fan, but I know Excalibur is important to read. There was we had a discussion in the pre-show, John, where it was like we talked about Apocalypse Rogue. They really could have spread that out for an arc.
Dude, I'm still pissed off that Rogue Apocalypse didn't get a full story arc. That was
really cool.
Shitty writing.
Yeah.
And having read what came after, there's no reason why they couldn't have done it.
It would have been way more exciting.
No, we're saving it up. She legitimately fully absorbed and killed Apocalypse. She should have had his powers and personality for at least a handful of issues.
At least 4 or 5 issues.
Can you imagine the fun that would have come from her and Gambit? And he's like, I love you, but you look like Apocalypse and you've got his like Machiavellian tendencies.
I'm kind of glad that they didn't put Gambit through that ringer.
I wanted all of that.
I think they put him through enough, honestly.
They gave it a half issue and then they threw it away. I was like, screw you. That was shitty writing.
The end of one issue and the beginning of the next, and that's it. Like, what? Are you kidding me? That's it?
God.
Dude, they could have dragged it out forever. And
I really enjoyed what they've done with the importance of Otherworld and with using the externals and with making Gambit be the person who kind of is the least likely to help Apocalypse, do the most to help Apocalypse throughout the run. I like the Jubilee and Shogo stuff. I like seeing Pete Wisdom. There's a lot about that book that I like that I know other people won't like, which is why I've kind of been like, I'm really enjoying this, but it's not something that you need to read. Whereas now I look back on it, and the only thing skippable about Hickman's run X-Men at this point is Fallen Angels. It's the only thing.
Yeah.
I love Fallen Angels.
I like the art in it. The art in it's fantastic. But to go back to Excalibur, like the whole entire Rogue Apocalypse thing, like that idea is way more exciting and fun than Venom Island. We were comparing to different Marvel stories going on at the time in the pre-show.
Well, Venom Island sucked.
I know it does.
Venom Island made me go, who is drawing this garbage? Wait a second, that's Mark Bagley?
I love Mark Bagley, but like, a lot of.
So I will say Venom Island was very good. So I'm going to say that real quickly and then let them back in.
Nope.
Hey, John, do you subscribe to Chip Zdarsky's newsletter?
I do not.
No.
Oh my God. Please get on it. He sent out a new one today. It's number 33. And he starts it off with like tweets between Ryan Stegman and him. And it's like Ryan Stegman tweet says, had a meeting with my marketing team and the question of how Zdarsky has more followers than me came up. My analytics team did a deep dive on his tweets and determined that in order to catch up, I need to lower the hashtag quality of my tweets. LOL, I made a huge mistake. My team informs me I do indeed have more followers than Chip. And then Chip said, honestly, I'm really happy for you. You clearly needed this. And he goes on and he made like, he ran it for a little bit, like made it like a paragraph or two. And then he said he made a short story about Stegman, Ryan Stegman. He said, but nobody asked you. So without further ado, he's like literally no one. He's like, here's the tale I call. He keeps like, interrupting himself with like different headlines, and he calls it "The Beginning Boy" by Chip Zdarsky. But he goes on. It's the best newsletter you subscribe to is Chip Zdarsky's newsletter. It's so funny. It's awesome. So yeah, please.
Well, I mean, we kind of need to wind it down here. So I'm going to go once through the panel just to hear some last thoughts, any videos they're dropping, anything that's coming up, just to give everybody a shot. Fastest moderator crushed me on that, dropping that link. So what do you got coming up?
Oh man, Indie Given Thursdays tomorrow. top 5 street level villains. We had so much fun talking heroes, top 5 street level heroes last week. We wanted to look at villains and deep dive into that a little bit.
Nice.
Thursdays might change up a little bit. It's hunting season here in Michigan. It's time to get outside. It's time to be out in the field. We'll see what happens. But
Andy, apropos to that, you said if there's anyone who can take over, Drew and I can do a Thursday show for a bit until you come back, man.
We'll talk for 8 hours about how Heroes in Crisis was a piece of shit.
The Drew Cantu review show.
There you go.
So tell me more. What's coming up? Anything else?
Well, I still want to do my Monday mail calls for fun with the community, and I still want to do the Wednesday pull list kind of thing because that's really fun. I can do those little streams, those little videos in like 20 minutes without a lot of prep work, and I get that connectivity with the community. I get to hang out with everybody. So I still want to keep those going, but the hunting season kind of is pulling me off in the other direction, so I probably won't be around a whole lot. But seriously, Monday, what are we reading, Drew?
Infinite Crisis.
Oh my, so much DC going on in Modern Men. It's so much DC. I've never heard Drew talk about DC so much before ever in the last year of Modern Men.
It's
There
true.
you go.
Lots of DC
All right.
going on over on Modern Men.
And at the end of the month, long Halloween on Modern Men. So let's check in with Drew. Drew, what do you got coming up?
Well, I'll tell you right now, you can go over to the community tab on this channel, The Comic Corps, and you can vote for what we'll be reading on week 53 on Modern Men. And the commanding lead right now is Gideon Falls. I did a quick little sales pitch for Gideon Falls as my contest video. The first video I've posted on my channel since July of 2019. So, yeah, go check that out over on the Drew Manchu channel. Other than that, me and Jason are going to get together and again talk about how Heroes in Crisis was an affront to God.
Good to know. Good to know. All right, and I'm gonna make a quick vote there and make sure I vote on the Comic Core community tab because I see American Vampire, Ice Cream Man, Infidel, and From Hell. So yeah, Gideon Falls is the winner for me. So I just clicked it. There you go.
I voted for Infidel myself. I love Gideon Falls to death, but Infidel does not get enough love. Gideon Falls is at the end, of its storyline, which is great, fantastic, needs more attention. Those who haven't read it need to get on that now to finish.
I've got the first 2 volumes, and I have yet to read them, so the trades are sitting right in the.
It has been my favorite book on the shelf for like the past year or two. It's so good. It's so good. It's what I've been looking for when I first started reading independent comics. I was looking for that horror mentality with great art and really next level storytelling. Or I guess more than just like sequential, but just strange, objectively avant-garde.
Nice.
And it hits all the marks. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
But,
the narrative is very slow to develop, but the mood and the creeps will just drag you through it. The mystery of it all really pulls you through what I would say is the first volume and a half of what the fuck is going on here.
Yeah.
I think by the time you're in the middle of volume 2, you start getting like it's I think it's good volume and a half of click, 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 click,
Yes.
click. And then as soon as you get like midway through volume 2, you're on the roller coaster.
It's just avant-garde, meta contextual. It just explodes, multiversal. You're just like, whoa. It's so good.
I just reread issue 25, and all I'm going to say is, you guys, everybody better buckle up. The last 3 issues is going to be nuts.
Yeah.
All right, so then Jason, let me. So I mean, besides a show that we just did an hour ago, and Sunday when we're hanging out together, and Wednesday when we're hanging out, what do you got going on?
I'm a wild card, man. I want to start streaming games because I pre-ordered a PS5 and that's coming whenever. And so I really want to either start something on Twitch or here on YouTube. But I'm working on Fall Guys. We got a new season 2 coming up tonight or tomorrow, so I'm probably playing that. I'm not sure if I'm gonna stream that or not. I should probably start streaming though to get on a little small hangout.
Nice.
We'll see.
And then thank you to the chat. Gore Vidal still shouting out some stray bullets, casting ideas if you could go back to the 70s and recast that. Talking about Gambit and Jubilee. Entertainment Nerd is over on the Twitch watching us. Said thanks for the people sharing passions of comics
On Twitch.
Let your nerd wang fly. I try not to. I got
Entertainment Nerd. We got live shows 10 p.m. Eastern every weeknight, so be sure to check us out.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. You're from Twitch. That's great.
Yeah, I try to do our Wednesday show on Twitch and here on YouTube, and sometimes even on Facebook as well. As far as me, I'm not known as Too Slow. I'm John's Comics with Kids. I got a video premiering tomorrow morning on my pull list for next week. All that Ten of Swords goodness that you heard Drew Manchu talking about that we both are really enjoying. There's 3 new books. I'll tell you which ones next week. So I'll go through my 8 issues that are on my pull list for next week, and that video drops tomorrow. And then yes, I am a cheater. And on Saturday night, my next time I'm going live, I will be on my channel talking about crime movies. Like I said, I'm counter programming the month of October. I'm not doing horror. Everybody's talking about horror movies, but I'm talking about good crime movies. Serial killers, gangsters. We're going to be tearing it up, Bearded Comic Bro and I, on Saturday night. So if you want to talk about movies, have a few drinks, I will be there for that.
I've been having a good time watching Perry reacts to horror movies every day this month.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah, it's fun because I feel like he's such like an innocent guy. You know, he
hates horror. He hates horror.
He hates horror, and he hasn't seen that much.
No.
It's like an innocent child being introduced to the horrors of the world, and it's fun.
His Texas Chainsaw Massacre watch was phenomenal. He's always like, "Oh no, why are you doing this? Oh my god!"
I love the one.
I only watch Perry play games when he gets to yell at TK for not knowing what he's doing. That's
nice.
I
love the one where it's about the Zoom call, the horror Zoom call.
Coast.
Yeah, so that was great, man.
Yeah, that's very funny.
He freaked out at that one. But yeah, dude, yeah. Gore Vidal brings out From Hell.
Yeah,
he's voting for that one. Classic Alan Moore. I do want to say that Cartoonist Kayfabe put out recently a great video on From Hell, and Alan Moore's writing in depth, so good. There's a very important part where it brings up story structure. I know we're trying to exit here, but it's just the character goes from a journey through the city, a little tour. He's kind of has his dumb partner with him. He's towing him. He's monologuing about these different statues and things like that across the city. And then at the end, he shows the goon like the map. He's like, "Here's our trail, what we did," and he made a pentagram across the city. And the guy just throws up, and he's just like, he's so dumb. He just realizes all the evil that he just like saw and stuff. Oh, it's so good. Just check out Cartoonist Kayfabe and From Hell interview, review. So good.
That would have normally been when I dropped the interruption button there and just completely shut Jason down. But this is the bizarro world. We're going to let him finish his speech, and we're going to thank you all for coming. Thank you to for hanging out on the Comic Core channel every week night. Like Drew said, you can catch good content here. Tomorrow night you got Drew. Friday night you got the OG crew. So hope to see you guys back here soon. Thank you for hanging out, and see you next week.